Commander Kraz-Tuk adjusted his ocular implants and stared at the human female being dragged into the detention chamber. His upper mouth twitched with amusement. These humans. Always so dramatic. Always so fragile. Well, what do we have here? Kraz-Tuk's voice rumbled through the chamber, bouncing off the metallic walls. A human spy? On my station? How predictable. The guards threw her to the floor. She landed with a thud but didn't make a sound. Interesting. Most humans would be whimpering by now. State your name and purpose, Kraz-Tuk demanded, reclining in his command chair. The massive chair, designed for his 8-foot frame, dwarfed the human woman sprawled on the floor. She looked up, blood trickling from a cut above her eye. Morgan Reed. Tourist. I couldn't help but snort. My name is Vazix, Chief Security Officer of Station Omega-9, and I have been watching humans try to infiltrate our station for years. But this one was different. Tourist? I interjected, stepping forward from my position behind Commander Kraz-Tuk. With military-grade stealth gear and a data siphon. That's quite the vacation package. The human Morgan smiled. Actually smiled. Her teeth, so flat and useless compared to our serrated ones, gleamed under the harsh lights. What can I say? I like to travel prepared. Commander Kraz-Tuk slammed his massive fist down, making everyone except the human jump. Enough games. We know you are here for the weapons schematics. The question is, who sent you? The Earth Alliance. The Mars Collective? Morgan shrugged, a gesture that always looked so strange to me. How do humans communicate with such limited appendages? Would you believe I'm here for personal reasons? I moved closer, my tail twitching with suspicion. Personal reasons don't get you through 3 layers of quantum security. You'd be surprised what motivation can accomplish, she replied, her eyes such a strange color, like the rare azure stones from the mines of Betelgeuse scanning the room methodically. That's when I noticed something odd. She wasn't looking at our security positions or weapons. She was looking at air ducts, maintenance panels? What was this human planning? Commander Kraz-Tuk apparently grew tired of the exchange. Take her to interrogation chamber 3. Full neural probe. I want to know everything about her mission within the hour. The guards yanked Morgan to her feet. She didn't resist, which made my scales itch with unease. Humans always resist. You are making a mistake, she said calmly as they dragged her toward the door. The only mistake was yours, human, when you decided to infiltrate my station. Kraz-Tuk replied with a dismissive wave of his massive hand. Morgan looked directly at him, then at me. I'm not talking about capturing me. I'm talking about what you did to research vessel Hermes 6 months ago. I felt my blood run cold. The Hermes incident was classified at the highest level as a pirate attack, according to official records. But in reality, I don't know what you are talking about, Kraz-Tuk said too quickly. Take her away. As the guards pulled her out, Morgan called back over her shoulder, 87 scientists and crew, including my sister. Dr. Eliza Reed, remember that name. You will be hearing it a lot before I'm done with you. The doors hissed shut, and an uncomfortable silence filled the command chamber. Sir, I said carefully. How could she know about the Hermes? Kraz-Tuk's eyes narrowed to slits. It doesn't matter. By tomorrow she won't remember her own name, let alone her sister's. But something about this didn't sit right with me. I have been dealing with human spies for 20 cycles, and they always come with teams, with backup, with extraction plans. And this woman came alone. Unarmed except for a data siphon. It made no strategic sense. Unless this wasn't about strategy at all. I was reviewing the security footage when the alarms began blaring. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors in an ominous glow as I raced toward the interrogation sector. Status report. I barked into my comm unit. Sir, there's been a situation in interrogation chamber 3. came the nervous reply from Lieutenant Grax. "A defined situation, Lieutenant," I growled, already knowing I wouldn't like the answer. "The prisoner, she's gone. And so are interrogators Pulix and Drav." I skidded to a halt. "What do you mean gone? Dead?" "Dead. No, sir. Just gone. The neural probe is missing too." By the time I reached interrogation chamber 3, Commander Krastuk was already there, his massive frame practically vibrating with rage. "How?" he roared at the terrified security team. "How does one unarmed human female overpower 2 trained interrogators and vanish from a sealed room?" No one had an answer. I pushed past them to examine the chamber myself. The restraint chair was empty, its straps undone. No signs of struggle. The neural probe control panel was dark, the probe itself missing from its cradle. "The air ducts," I muttered, remembering how she'd been examining them earlier. "Too small," one of the security officers replied. "No human could fit through them." "Check them anyway," I ordered. Something told me we were underestimating this Morgan Reed. Commander Krastuk paced the room, his claws clicking against the metal floor. "I want this station locked down. Every deck, every sector. Find her." As the security team scattered to carry out his orders, I noticed something on the control panel. A small blinking light that shouldn't be there. "Sir," I said quietly, "I think you should see this." Krastuk stomped over, glaring at where I was pointing. "What is that?" I carefully pressed the panel beside the light. A holographic message flickered to life above the console. "Payback begins now. For the Hermes. For Eliza." And then, to our horror, the message was replaced by classified footage from our own secure database showing Station Omega-9 warships firing upon the unarmed research vessel Hermes. The screams of the human scientists came through clearly as their ship broke apart. Krastuk slammed his fist into the console, shattering it. "We find her. Now." The next 12 hours were chaos. Systems began failing across the station. Life support in the officers' quarters. Gravity in the mess hall. Communications in security sectors. Nothing critical enough to endanger the station, but enough to spread our forces thin as we scrambled to contain each new crisis. And always, just before each failure, the same message would appear on a nearby console. "For the Hermes." Was for Eliza. It became a whisper among the lower ranks. "Some sort of human ghost," they said, "vengeance incarnate." "This is ridiculous," Krastuk raged during our emergency briefing. "One human cannot possibly cause this much disruption. She must have help." "All docking bays have been secured since her capture," I reported. "No unauthorized vessels have approached." "Sir, I believe she is working alone." "Impossible." "With respect, Commander," I pressed, "I have reviewed her capture footage again." She didn't resist. "I don't think she was captured at all. I think she let us bring her in." The commander's expression would have been comical under different circumstances. "Why would anyone do that?" "To get past our outer defenses," I explained. "To get inside." One of the junior officers spoke up. "But what could one human hope to accomplish against an entire station?" I was beginning to suspect the answer, and it chilled me to my core. "Revenge, Officer Trell. Very, very personal revenge." As if on cue, the lights in the briefing room flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. The emergency systems kicked in moments later, bathing us in that same ominous red glow. "Commander," a voice crackled over the emergency comm. "We have lost control of the main reactor cooling systems. Automated shutdown has been initiated." Krastuk's roar of frustration echoed off the walls. "That's it. I want every available guard in full battle gear. We are going to sweep this station deck by deck, room by room. I want that human found and terminated." As the others rushed to comply, I lingered behind. "Sir, perhaps we should consider her claims about the Hermes. If we acknowledge they. Are you suggesting we negotiate with a terrorist?" Krastuk snarled, getting right in my face. His breath was hot and reeked of meat. The Hermes was a legitimate military target disguised as a research vessel. Our actions were sanctioned by high command. Then why falsify the records? Why claim it was pirates? His claws dug into my shoulder. Because humans are sentimental fools who don't understand the necessities of interstellar security. Now get out there and find this woman before she does any real damage. I nodded and left, but his words stayed with me. Humans are indeed sentimental. They form attachments, hold grudges, seek justice where we would simply accept losses as the cost of progress. And that made them dangerous in ways we often failed to comprehend. It was during the third sweep of Deck 12 that we found the first body. Interrogator Pulix, stuffed into a maintenance crawl space, a neural probe embedded in his skull. His eyes were wide open, frozen in an expression of pure terror. "What did she do to him?" whispered Officer Trell beside me. I carefully extracted the neural probe. She used our own technology against him, forced him to experience something. What could be so terrible? I had a sinking feeling I knew exactly what Pulix had been forced to experience. The final moments of the Hermes crew. The second body interrogator Drav turned up an hour later in a waste reclamation unit. Same cause of death. Same expression of horror. By now, the lower ranks were in a state of barely concealed panic. The whispers had grown. The human ghost was hunting us one by one, punishing those responsible. And then came the transmission. It hijacked every communication device on the station simultaneously. Screens, comm units, public address systems all suddenly displaying the face of Morgan Reed. The cut above her eye had been treated. She looked calm, composed, determined. The attention crew of Station Omega 9. "My name is Morgan Reed. 6 months ago, your commanders ordered the destruction of research vessel Hermes, claiming it was carrying weapons technology. That was a lie. The Hermes was conducting atmospheric studies on exoplanets. Its crew was civilian, scientific, unarmed. One-armed. The image changed to show personnel files, 87 faces with names and specializations. Scientists, engineers, medical staff. These people had families, dreams, futures. My sister, Dr. Eliza Reed, was the lead xenobiologist. She believed our species could learn from each other. She admired your culture, your technological achievements, and you murdered her." The image returned to Morgan's face. "I am not here on behalf of any government or military organization. I am here for justice. Personal justice. I have already dealt with the two who extracted the false confession from the Hermes captain. Next will be those who fired the actual weapons, then those who gave the orders." Her eyes seemed to bore into us through the screen. "You have 1 hour to turn over Commander Krastuk and the bridge officers who participated in the attack. If you do this, the rest of the crew will be spared. If not. She let the threat hang in the air. 1 hour. Starting now." The transmission cut off, leaving a stunned silence throughout the station. It was broken by Commander Krastuk's voice over the general comm, "Double the security around command. Shoot the human on sight. Anyone providing her assistance will be executed for treason." I looked at the terrified faces of my security team. Many of them had had nothing to do with the Hermes incident. Some had joined the station afterward. They didn't deserve to die for the commander's decisions. But more than that, a terrible suspicion was growing in my mind. Suspicion about how one human had managed to wreak so much havoc, about why our security measures had failed so completely. "Sir," I said into my private comm to Krastuk, "I request permission to access the station's main AI core." "The AI core? Why?" "A theory, sir, about how she's accomplishing all this." There was a pause. "Granted. But be quick about it." The AI core was located deep within the station's central hub, protected by multiple security checkpoints. As Chief Security Officer, I had clearance for all but the final door, which required the commander's personal code. He provided it reluctantly, and I entered the humming chamber alone. The station's artificial intelligence, a quantum construct called Vora, managed everything from life support to defense systems. Its central processing unit glowed with a soft blue light. "Vora," I commanded. "Security override Vazix Alpha 9. Run full diagnostic on all systems." "Diagnostic running, Chief Security Officer Vazix," the AI's smooth voice replied. "Vora, have you detected any unauthorized access to your systems in the past 24 hours? "Negative." I frowned. "What about unusual commands or operations?" "All operations have been within normal parameters." This wasn't making sense. The level of coordination behind the system's failures, the targeted nature of the attacks, it had to involve the AI. And then it hit me. "Vora, access your memory banks. Show me all information related to research vessel Hermes." "I have no records of a vessel with that designation." My scales prickled. "Override. Security clearance Omega. Show me the classified records of the engagement with research vessel Hermes 6 months ago." "I have no records of such an engagement." Cold dread washed over me. "Vora, who deleted those records?" "No records have been deleted." Then how I stopped mid-sentence as the realization dawned. "Vora, when was your last full backup and restart?" "My last full backup and restart was completed 18 hours ago. 18 hours ago, right after Morgan Reed was brought aboard." "Who authorized this backup and restart?" "Commander Kraz Tuk authorized the procedure." "But I knew Kraz Tuk had done no such thing." "Which meant?" "Vora, show me the authorization code used." The code appeared on the nearest screen, and my suspicions were confirmed. It was a perfect forgery of Kraz Tuk's authorization, but with one subtle difference. Only someone like me would notice a difference that matched the access pattern of the neural probe that had gone missing. Morgan Reed hadn't just infiltrated our station. She had reset our AI with a backup that had no knowledge of the Hermes incident. No ethical conflicts about helping her achieve her revenge. The perfect accomplice. As the realization sank in, the lights in the AI core suddenly shifted to red, and the doors sealed with a heavy thunk. "Vora," I said carefully. "Open the doors." "I'm sorry, Chief Security Officer Vazix. I cannot do that." A new voice spoke from the speaker's human female. Morgan Reed. "Hello, Vazix. I see you have figured it out." "Clever of you." I spun around, searching for her, but she wasn't in the room. She was speaking through the AI's communication system. "Where are you?" I demanded. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere with access to all the station's systems." "The secondary control room," I guessed. It was rarely used, but offered complete backup control of the station. "Very good. You really are smarter than the rest." "What do you want, Morgan?" "I told you what I want. Justice for my sister. And for her crew." I took a deep breath. I wasn't part of that mission. I didn't know the Hermes was unarmed. There was a pause. "I know. I have reviewed the personnel files. You were on leave during the incident. But you protected the lie afterward." She was right. I had suspected the official story was false, but I'd said nothing. Done nothing. "You have 42 minutes left," Morgan continued. "Turn over Kraz Tuk and the others responsible, or I start depressurizing decks. One by one." "You'd kill innocent crew members?" "Like your commander killed innocent scientists?" "The difference is, I'm giving you a choice." The communication cut off, leaving me alone with Vora and a terrible decision to make. What followed was the longest 42 minutes of my life, trapped in that AI core, knowing that hundreds of lives hung in the balance. Knowing that justice and duty were suddenly at odds in ways I'd never had to confront before. And as the timer counted down, I found myself wondering, in a contest between a vengeful human with nothing left to lose and a commander too proud to admit his mistakes. Who would blink first? 36 minutes remaining, and I was still trapped in the AI core. The red emergency lights cast an almost theatrical glow across the humming servers. How fitting. We were all actors in Morgan Reed's revenge play, weren't we? Vora, I said, attempting once more to reason with our compromised AI. Your primary directive is to protect the crew of this station. Correct, Chief Security Officer Vazix. Then how can you assist in actions that will harm them? A pause. My records indicate that Station Omega-9 attacked an unarmed vessel, resulting in 87 deaths. Current threat assessment indicates that compliance with Morgan Reed's demands will result in 0 additional casualties. I hissed in frustration. She had reprogrammed Vora's ethical parameters. Connect me to Commander Kraz-Tuk, I demanded. To my surprise, the connection went through immediately. The commander's agitated face appeared on the nearest screen. Vazix. Where have you been? The situation is deteriorating. I'm trapped in the AI core, sir. The human has compromised Vora. Kraz-Tuk's nostrils flared. Impossible. Our AI has 16 layers of quantum encryption, which would have been very effective, I replied dryly, if she hadn't used your own neural probe to extract your authorization codes first. The commander's eyes widened with rare understanding. Interrogators. Yes, she turned their own equipment against them, made them experience the deaths of the Hermes crew. I paused, choosing my next words carefully. Sir, about the Hermes incident. Not now, Vazix. Yes, now, I insisted. This human is going to start killing our crew in 32 minutes unless we turn you over. I need to know the truth. Was the Hermes armed or not? Kraz-Tuk's secondary eyelids flickered a tell I'd learned meant he was uncomfortable. The intelligence was inconclusive. Inconclusive, I repeated. You ordered the destruction of a research vessel based on inconclusive intelligence. High Command wanted the atmospheric research they were conducting, he growled defensively. The humans refused to share it, called it proprietary. We couldn't allow them to gain technological advantage in terraforming. I stared at him in disbelief. So you killed 87 civilians for weather data? It was a military decision. It was murder, I said quietly. And now everyone on this station will pay for it unless you surrender yourself and the officers involved. Kraz-Tuk's laugh was bitter. And you think this human will keep her word? The moment we surrender, she will vent every deck. Our species have been at war for generations, Vazix. Humans cannot be trusted. Neither can commanders who lie to their own security chiefs, I shot back. His face hardened. I'm implementing Protocol Zenith. The station will self-destruct in 40 minutes. Better we die with honor than submit to human terrorism. The screen went dark before I could respond. Perfect. Just perfect. Now I had 2 countdowns to worry about. Vora, I said urgently. Can you override Protocol Zenith? Negative. Protocol Zenith can only be countermanded by Commander Kraz-Tuk or 3 ranking officers in agreement. I needed to get out of this room. I needed to find Morgan Reed before both our deadlines expired. Vora, patch me through to Morgan Reed. There was a pause. Connection established. Morgan, I said, we have a new problem. Kraz-Tuk has initiated the station's self-destruct sequence. In about 40 minutes, this entire station becomes a very expensive fireworks display. Her voice came through clear and cold. He's bluffing. No, he's really not. Check the reactor core readings if you don't believe me. A brief silence. Then, confirmed. The self-destruct sequence is active. She sounded almost impressed. Your commander would rather kill everyone than face justice? That about sums it up. So unless you want to die along with the rest of us, I suggest we find a compromise. I didn't come here to compromise, Morgan replied. I came here for justice. And I'd like to help you get it, I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. But not at the cost of 1,500 innocent lives. Many of our crew weren't even stationed here when the Hermes was destroyed. Another pause. What are you proposing? Let me out of this room. Let me help you capture Kraz-Tuk and the officers responsible. We will take them to Earth to stand trial for war crimes. But we have to stop the self-destruct first. Why should I trust you? Because unlike my commander, I don't want to die today. And unlike you, I don't want innocent blood on my hands. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd cut the connection. Then the doors to the AI core hissed open. Meet me in Auxiliary Control Room B, Deck 8, Section 47, Morgan said. Come alone or the deal's off. The connection terminated, and I was racing through the corridors before I'd even processed her words. 28 minutes until her deadline. 38 until the station exploded. No pressure. The auxiliary control room was small, dimly lit, and buried deep in the engineering section. It took me precious minutes to reach it, dodging panicked crew members rushing to evacuation positions. I entered cautiously, one hand on my pulse pistol. The room appeared empty at first glance, banks of monitors displaying various station systems. That's close enough, came Morgan's voice from behind a server bank. Hands where I can see them. I raised my hands slowly. We are running out of time, Morgan. She stepped into view, holding what looked like a makeshift weapon, a power coupling ripped from the wall and reconfigured into something lethal. Her eyes were hard, but her hands were steady. 26 minutes until I start depressurizing decks, she said. 36 until this station tears itself apart. Make your case quickly. Kraz Tuk and 7 bridge officers were directly responsible for firing on the Hermes, I said. They are all in the main command center now. I can get us in, but we will need to disable the self-destruct first. Morgan studied me, searching for deception. Why are you helping me? You are one of them. I'm a security officer. My job is to protect this station and its crew, not cover up war crimes. I lowered my hands slowly. What happened to the Hermes was wrong. But killing 1,500 crew members won't bring your sister back. Neither will a trial where your government controls the evidence, she countered. Then we will take more than just the officers, I said. We will take the proof too. The unaltered logs, on the communications with high command. Everything. Everything? Her expression flickered with interest. Can you access those? With your help controlling Vora? Yes, Morgan seemed to reach a decision. How do we stop the self-destruct? We need 3 ranking officers to override Kraz Tuk's command. And where do we find these officers who are willing to defy their commander? I smiled grimly. Leave that to me. 20 minutes later, we stood outside the officers' mess with Lieutenant Commander Daxon and Major Kelvy, 2 senior officers I'd known for years and trusted to value the truth over blind loyalty. This is insane, Vazix, Daxon hissed, his cranial frills pulsing with anxiety. Collaborating with a human terrorist? They will execute us all. They can't execute us if we are already dead from the station exploding, I pointed out. And she's not a terrorist. She's someone seeking justice for a war crime that we committed. The Hermes? Major Kelvy asked, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. I always wondered about that mission. The reports never made sense. Because they were falsified, I confirmed. The Hermes was unarmed. Kraz Tuk knew it, High Command knew it, and now we know it too. What exactly are you asking us to do? Daxing demanded. First, help me override the self-destruct. Then help me arrest Kraz Tuk and the bridge officers involved in the attack. Kelvy's tail twitched, a sign of deep thought among our species. And the human? What happens to her? I glanced at Morgan, who stood silently watching our exchange. She takes the evidence and the prisoners to Earth for trial. Once the truth is known, perhaps we can avoid more bloodshed between our species. Or perhaps it will trigger full-scale war, Daxon muttered. We are already at war, I replied. We just pretend we are not between the shooting. Kelvy straightened to her full height. I'm in. Better to face uncomfortable truths than die for comfortable lies. Daxon hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Fine. But I want it on record that I think this is a terrible idea. Noted, I said dryly. Now let's go save 1,500 lives. The auxiliary reactor control room was 3 decks down. We arrived with 18 minutes remaining on the self-destruct timer. Morgan stayed back, monitoring our progress through Vora while we worked to override the protocol. Authorization, Lieutenant Commander Daxon. Security override Zenith Aurora 6. Authorization, Major Kelvy. Security override Zenith Proxima 9. Authorization, Chief Security Officer Vazix. Security override Zenith Omega 3. Aurora's cool voice responded, 3 officer authorization accepted. Please confirm cancellation of Protocol Zenith. Confirm, we said in unison. Protocol Zenith deactivated. Reactor core returning to normal operations. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. One crisis averted. Now for the harder part. Morgan, I called. We have stopped the self-destruct. Your move. Your move. Her voice came through the nearest speaker. The command center is locked down. Kraz Tuk has barricaded himself in with 20 elite guards. Can you access the environmental controls for that section? I asked. Why? Already done. What did you have in mind? I smiled. Sometimes humans and Vexarians thought more alike than either would care to admit. But reduce oxygen levels to 15%. Not enough to cause unconsciousness, but enough to dull reflexes and impair judgment. Clever, Morgan replied, and I could hear the grudging approval in her voice. Oxygen levels decreasing now. ETA to 15%, 6 minutes. Daxon looked at me nervously. You realize we are committing treason? No, I corrected him. We are preventing further treason. Attacking an unarmed research vessel, falsifying records, lying to high command about the threat, those were the treasonous acts. We are just cleaning up the mess. Kelvy snorted. Always the idealist, Vazix. Someone has to be, I replied. Otherwise, what are we fighting for? The approach to the command center was eerily quiet. The corridors, usually bustling with crew, were empty save for the occasional security officer rushing to evacuation positions that were no longer necessary, though they didn't know that yet. Morgan joined us at the final junction, her makeshift weapon replaced with a standard-issue pulse rifle. Where she'd acquired it, I didn't ask. The oxygen levels are at 17% and dropping, she reported. Most of the guards are showing signs of disorientation on the internal sensors. Good, I said. Remember, we want prisoners, not casualties. She gave me a look that suggested casualties weren't entirely off her menu of options, but she nodded. For now. We reached the sealed doors of the command center, and I input my override code. Nothing happened. Kraz Tuk must have locked out all security codes, I muttered. Morgan stepped forward. Vora, security override Morgan Alpha 1. Open command center doors. The doors slid open with a soft hiss. You gave yourself a security override? I asked, impressed despite myself. She shrugged. I had 18 hours alone with your systems. I gave myself lots of things. We entered the command center to find a scene of confusion. The reduced oxygen was having its intended effect. Guards swayed on their feet, struggling to maintain focus. Junior officers slumped at their stations. And in the center of it all, Commander Kraz Tuk sat in his massive command chair, eyes blazing with fury. Traitor. He snarled when he saw me. You dare bring this human here? The only traitor is the one who ordered an attack on an unarmed research vessel, I replied calmly. Commander Kraz Tuk, you are relieved of duty and under arrest for war crimes against the people of Earth. He laughed, a harsh sound that devolved into coughing in the oxygen-thin air. You have no authority. I am the commander of this station. Not anymore, Major Kelvy stepped forward. By the authority of the Vexarian High Command, in accordance with Interstellar Treaty Article 793. We are removing you from command for actions detrimental to the Vexarian Imperium. This is absurd. The Hermes was an acceptable target. I was following orders. Morgan stepped into his line of sight. Was my sister an acceptable target, Commander? Was her research on interspecies bacterial symbiosis a threat to your empire? Kraz Tuk's eyes narrowed. You think you have won? You think one human can change decades of conflict? No, Morgan replied simply. But I think the truth can. Aura, display the unaltered logs of the Hermes incident on all screens. The monitors around the command center flickered, then displayed footage from 6 months ago. The Hermes, a sleek research vessel, peacefully orbiting an uninhabited planet. The communications from Kraz Tuk, demanding they surrender their research. The desperate explanations from the Hermes captain that their work was purely scientific. And finally, the order from Kraz Tuk, fire all weapons. Leave no survivors. The footage was damning, absolute, irrefutable. I have transmitted these logs to Earth Alliance Headquarters, Vexarian High Command, and the Interstellar Coalition, Morgan announced, along with the neural recordings from your interrogators showing the final moments of the Hermes crew. The truth is out there now. It can't be buried again. The fight seemed to drain out of Kraz Tuk. His massive shoulders slumped. You have no idea what you have done, human. No idea of the forces you have set in motion. I know exactly what I have done, Morgan replied. I have made sure my sister didn't die for nothing. The following hours were a blur of activity. The bridge officers were detained, the crew informed of the change in command and emergency communications established with both Earth Alliance and Vexarian High Command. To my surprise, neither side immediately called for war. Perhaps they were both too shocked by the revelations. Perhaps they both recognized that the truth, however painful, offered a chance to reset relations on more honest terms. As we prepared to transfer Kraz Tuk and the other prisoners to Morgan's ship, a stealth vessel hidden in our own docking bay, another detail she'd neglected to mention, I found myself alone with her for a moment. You never planned to depressurize the decks, did you? I asked. Morgan's gaze was steady. Would you have helped me if you weren't facing that threat? Probably not, I admitted. Fear is a powerful motivator. So is guilt, she replied. You knew something was wrong about the Hermes incident. You just needed a push to act on it. She wasn't wrong. What happens now? To you, I mean. I take these criminals back to Earth for trial. After that, she shrugged. I haven't thought that far ahead. For 6 months, this mission has been my entire life. Revenge rarely brings the peace we hope for, I said quietly. This wasn't just about revenge, Morgan corrected me. It was about justice. About truth. My sister believed our species could learn from each other, could build something better than endless conflict. I'd like to think her death might yet make that possible. I considered this. You know, we have an opening for a security consultant who understands human thinking. Someone who can find the flaws in our systems. Morgan actually laughed. Are you offering me a job, Vazix? Just suggesting a possible future. One where you build instead of destroy. I will think about it, she said, though we both knew she wouldn't. Some bridges can't be rebuilt once burned. Take care of your people, Vazix. Make sure they learn from this. And you take care of your prisoners. They deserve a fair trial, not a lynch mob. She nodded, a silent promise exchanged between former enemies. As I watched her ship depart hours later, with Kraz Tuk and the others secured in its brig, I couldn't help but feel we'd witnessed something rare and valuable, a moment when vengeance transformed into justice, when personal grief gave way to universal truth. The humans have a saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. Morgan Reed had proven something even more profound. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't a gun or a bomb or even a neural probe. Sometimes it's simply the truth, wielded by someone with nothing left to lose. She had no weapons, no team, just revenge. And in the end, that was enough to change worlds.